Well, hello, Love Covenant Fellowship family. I am missing you in person, but I am telling you that I'm praying for each of you daily, and I'm just so grateful to have an opportunity to just share just a few words of encouragement with you today. What I have to share is from Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13. It says, "Here's the final conclusion. Now that you have heard everything," this is Solomon, the wisest man that's ever lived, his conclusion is, "Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is what being human is all about." I read this verse on March 18th. This is right as we're learning about COVID-19 and all of the fear that comes with it. And I'm reading this verse, and Solomon says, "Fear God, fear God." And that word, in Hebrew, you pronounce it Yahweh. And that may or may not be accurate, but based on what I looked up, that's what I believe it is. And it means to revere, but it also means to be afraid, because you're in such reverence, in such awe. You're overcome by his majesty, you're overcome by his presence, you're overcome by his power, and you're overcome by his love. This word means that you're astonished and in awe. And because you're astonished and because you're in awe, you're fearful of what you see. So fear God, but it's not, I'm shaking in my boots, afraid. It's, I'm so astonished. I'm so in awe of who this God is that I fear him. I fear that majesty of who he is. Fear the God that said, "Light be," and it was. Fear God. The second part that he says is, "And keep his commands." Keep his commands. One of the things that Solomon said earlier in Ecclesiastes was, "I know that it will be well for those who fear God and who fear him openly." So when you fear God, you seek him. You seek his word. You seek what he wants for you in your life, who it is that he wants you to be. Jeremiah 29:11, God says, "I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans for your good, not for ill. Plans for hope and a future." So his commands tell us how to have that. His commands tell us what his plan is. His commands tell us how to have hope. His commands tell us that we can look forward to a future. That command, the word command, is that we watch his codes and his laws and his precepts. And one of those, Jesus told us in the New Testament, is love, love, love. Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, all thy mind, all thy soul, all thy being. And the second is like it, love thy neighbor as thyself. What a beautiful season that we're in. We can look at it from the outside perspective, from the world's perspective. What a time of fear, what a time of dread. But Solomon tells us, what a time to fear the Lord. What a time to look at his word and say, "God, what would you have me do?" And Jesus tells us what it is. Love. Love God, love his commands, love your fellow man. And then the last part is just kind of blows me away when you think about it. He says, "Fear God, keep his commands, because this is what being human is all about." When we look at all the things that we do, going to our jobs, having that perfect cup of coffee in the morning, talking to our friends and our family and our loved ones, spending time in prayer, all of those things, Solomon says you want to take it all and condense it into one understanding of what it is to be human. It's fear God and keep his commands. So I want to challenge you to read this verse, and I'll repeat it again. It's Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13. That last part, he says, "Fear God, keep his commands, for this is what being human is all about." I want you to take out the word human and I want you to put your name in there. So I'm going to read it for myself. I'm going to put my name in there, and then I'm going to read it again, and I'm going to pause, and I want you to put your name in there. This is what you're to do with your life moving forward from today, now that you have this word of hope and encouragement. Here is the final conclusion. Now that you have heard everything, fear God and keep his commandment, for this is what being Gloria is all about. So I'm going to read it again, and I want you to put your name in there. Here is the final conclusion. Now that you have heard everything, fear God and keep his commandment, for this is what being is all about. Trust in his word, trust in his love, and know that as you love him and keep his commands, you are truly being human. God bless you, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon.